Hello, hello. Wait a minute, let me get this mic together. There we go. Hello and welcome to the BFTAA and More Show. I am your host, Louis George Walker, and we are glad to be with you today. Well, I'm playing around with a little new intro for the show. Let me know if you liked it. Well, we come on with a little different music, a little different beginning to the BFTAA and More Show, but we're glad that you're here with us right now. This is the BFTAA and More Show. I am your host, Louis George Walker, and we are part of the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, who in partnership with the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center formed this radio station, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom. We call it KUAW. So we are here to bring you some knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and just glad to be in the community. I'd like to let everybody know that you can pick us up. We're live on Facebook right now, on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Twitch. You can pick us up on our BFTAA Facebook page or on the KUAW Facebook page. You can also listen to this audio only if you have the TuneIn app. Go to your TuneIn app, search KUAW, or you can also check on my online radio box, my tuner, or Get Me Radio. You can also check out Radio Garden, and we're on that. Also, if you have a Google or Amazon smart speaker, tell it to play KUAW, and you will hear us on your Google or Amazon. We're on 24 hours a day with our audio side, and we put in a lot of old school music, some blues, some smooth jazz, and we also have different talk shows that we put on here. So there's a whole list, and if you go to our webpage, www.kuaw.org, you can see all the shows and their listings on our calendar that's on that page. You can pick that up. That gives you all the information of the shows. I've got to do some updating on it because we've got shows that are coming, and it's I want to say 80% accurate, but in the next day or so, I should have it 100% accurate as far as what you'll hear on there at all times of the day, 24 hours a day. Just got to get my little typing fingers together and get back on it and go. But, yeah, we're glad to be here. We got some things to talk about today. There's some interesting things happening in the news and around the city. We all know about the war that's going on in Ukraine right now, and that has some ramifications for us here. You may think that it doesn't touch you, but you have to look at, as the war nowadays is not just fought on the battlefield, but there's a cyber war that is going on. And one of the things that we have to be alert to is that the Russians or any of their supporters may want to hack into systems to disrupt the United States and Ukraine and the West economy or governments and things like that. And one way they could do that is by getting into bank accounts, closing banks so that they couldn't provide funds, blocking oil, blocking a lot our communications, things that happen on the internet, on computers. A lot of things are computerized now, so they can get in there and disrupt the way our economy flows. So that's something you have to be on the watch out for, and we're going to talk about security and security on your own personal computer and my personal computer. I was looking at this information, and I thought, man, I got to step up my game a little bit. So we're going to get into all of that, but one of the things that we're about is the Black Family Technology Awareness Association is to help close the digital divide that exists in the African American community. So in order to do that, we formed a group, the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, and we work with families, we work with students, we work with adults to help close the digital divide, to help provide classes and trainings and do workshops and things like that can help people navigate their way through and learn how to be productive with the internet, with what's going on there. Learn how to use it that you can save money or that you may be able to make money. There's plenty of jobs that all they require is you have a computer and internet access. So there's a lot of things that we can do. Even more are becoming available daily. So that's something that we're about, is to make sure that the African American community and all underserved communities have the same playing field, to try and level that playing field for everyone. So that's one of the things that we do here at the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. So in order to do that, we do like to expose our young people to jobs, to opportunities, and to the wealth of things that are going on in technology and in technology fields that can be interesting to them. You know, they may have an interest that they don't know that they have. You know, sometimes if you haven't been exposed to things, you don't take advantage of them because you just don't know that they exist. So that's one of the things that we're about doing, is to try and make people aware. That's where the awareness in our name, the BFTAA, is for awareness. And you can't be something that you're not aware of. And that's what we want to do, is to help you become aware. In order to do that, one of the things we do is we usually show you a little bit of what's going on at NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. That's where a lot of technology is being used. That's where a lot of breakthroughs come from. That's where a lot of jobs are. So we want to give give your family and all of them to see what's going on at NASA, billions of dollars that influence, you know, our standard of living, our way of living on a daily basis. So let's look and see what's happening this week at NASA. And I'll be right back after that.
A week of deployments for the James Webb Space Telescope, another remarkable achievement for Hubble, and helping to improve launch safety. A few of the stories to tell you about this week at NASA. The team for our James Webb Space Telescope spent the week deploying various components on the Next Generation Space Observatory. On January 4th, they finished deploying Webb's 70-foot sun shield, which protects the telescope from the light and heat emitted by the sun, earth, and moon. The sun shield provides a level of protection that would be on the order of more than SPF 1 million if it were sunscreen lotion. The next day, the team began operations to deploy the secondary mirror support structure. The secondary mirror plays an important role in reflecting the light from the primary mirror to the science instruments that sit behind the primary mirror. There is another 5.5 months of setup activities before Webb will be ready to deliver its first images. Our Where is Webb site at go.nasa.gov/whereiswebb features an infographic that shows the status of Webb as it makes its way to its final science destination about 1 million miles from Earth. Our Hubble Space Telescope rang in the new year by officially passing the 1 billion second mark of its remarkable mission in space. Hubble was deployed and began operating on April 25, 1990, more than 31 years or 1 billion seconds ago. Hubble's first 1 billion seconds included 5 astronaut servicing missions to the telescope and more than 1.5 million scientific observations and counting. Our Ames Research Center in California is using cutting-edge computational fluid dynamics software and supercomputers to better understand how vibration levels during various launch abort scenarios might affect the Orion spacecraft's launch abort system. The colors in the visualizations indicate different degrees of pressure. The launch abort system is designed to safely pull Orion and astronauts inside the spacecraft away from the Space Launch System rocket in a split second if an emergency happens during launch. In response to an inquiry from SpaceX, NASA is preparing to conduct environmental assessments to develop Launch Complex 49, a proposed new launch site at our Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The 175-acre site, located north of Launch Complex 39B, would support the launch and landing of the company's Starship and Super Heavy launch vehicle. NASA and SpaceX are moving forward with the initial environmental analysis before concluding a potential agreement to develop the property. Recent upgrades to the flight simulator for NASA's X-59 Quiet Supersonic Technology aircraft are helping test pilots at our Armstrong Flight Research Center in California train in the most robust, realistic system possible. The upgrades accurately replicate the flight controls, instrumentation, avionics, and cockpit of the X-plane so that pilots can effectively practice flying in various situations and scenarios. The X-59 is designed to reduce the loudness of sonic booms that can occur during supersonic flight. Research from the project could help open the future to commercial supersonic flights over land. That's what's up this week at NASA. For more on these and other stories, follow us on the web at nasa.gov/twan.
All right. That's what's going on at NASA this week. Seems to be some exciting things. There's a lot going on there all the time. They seem to never sleep there, so that's a great thing for us. Hey, we're going to do a little bit more about NASA in a second, but there is a story that's going on a little bit closer right here in Kansas City. I saw an article that just came through. A friend of mine sent it to me today, and it was really interesting because I know the people involved in this, but it says she's bringing tech to the urban core teens. Why Kansas City, Missouri says Tammy Buckner needs to pay fair market value or get out. Yes, okay. So this is saying one of Kansas City's leading black women in tech leased a vacant building for $1 and made $20,000 in improvements for her workforce development program. Now the city wants to sell it, kicking We Code KC to the curb. So that's a story that was in Startland News, and it's very interesting because I've had Tammy. She's been on the radio here. She was on Jessica Lynn's show, I believe, just a few weeks ago. But anyway, Tammy runs an organization called We Code KC, and they teach our young people how to do coding. And they're working in coding. And not only had she started, her and a friend started this organization, but they've expanded to where they were going into workforce development because learning the code for kids in school is good for their education and their future. But some people can get it right into jobs as teenagers and coming out of high school. If you know coding, you can go into a job and do good, sometimes without even a college background if you're good at coding, if you know what you're doing there. So Tammy Buckner has been an African-American woman that's been working in the community, trying to do things. She's smart and working to give back, to help other young people get ahead in it. Well, she rented it's an old fire station, used to be a fire station down on Prospect, and they were actually doing coding and going to open up a hacker space in it because our organization, the Black Family Technology Awareness, we work with kids in robotics, was thinking that we may be able to go down there sometimes to use some of the equipment in the hacker space as the kids are finishing up robots. You know, they may have machining or computer-aided drawing and cutting machines that we can't afford, we don't have, but in hacker spaces, that's what they do, is they have a lot of stuff that other people can use. You can lease time or what have you to use some of the equipment that we couldn't afford to buy, and it really wouldn't be practical for us to buy it to use with kids once a week or twice a week. But if you have a hacker space where more people can share the equipment, then it works out to be a pretty good deal. So, you know, she was doing that, had the building. They let her have it for $1. It was a surplus building of the city's. Then she had put $20,000 in it. Now the city says, well, it's up for sale. So now as a small nonprofit, I don't know if she has the funds. She was down there trying to see if they could delay it so that she'd have more time in there, or that they didn't have to do it at all. And the city council of the 3rd District, it's in the 3rd District in Kansas City, so our city councilwoman, Melissa Robinson, and then our 3rd District Councilman at Large, Brandon Ellington, were both talking with the city and at the council meeting to see about stopping this, but it was voted to move on to the full council. So I guess they're going to vote in the next week. And it's not just this one building, it's a group of buildings on Prospect. I think it's about 4 or 5 addresses they have. There's 2524, 2526, 2528, 2530, 34, and 2536. So all of those are on Prospect. They end at where the used to be Green Duck was. It was a nightclub. Leon Jordan, one of the founders of Freedom Incorporated, started right there in that building on the corner. And then it goes back down to where the Black Economic Union used to be housed. So that block between 25th and 26th in Prospect has some nice buildings that have been in the African-American community and have been beneficial and historic in some cases in the African American community. So those are the ones that they're going to be putting up for sale. Now, if Tammy and them can raise the money and buy it, I guess it'll be okay. They're saying that they want fair market value for them, that the city doesn't want to be in the landlord business. But my thought is, if you don't want to be in the landlord business, then don't start ever being landlords. You know, because you got into the landlord business when you leased the buildings to somebody. So whenever you have a surplus building, you should put it up for sale immediately. Or if you get into the landlord business, then you're going to be in the landlord business for a while. So I think the city letting people come in for $1 or what have you, and then all of a sudden, as you get started, as you've raised money, as you've fixed up the building, as you've put your sweat equity into it, then say, well, we decided to sell it. Well, that's, business-wise, you can do it. It's your building. But as a good community or a good corporate action, I think it would take some consideration on that you wouldn't snatch the rug out from under somebody that's just gotten started. But that's the way things are, around here or in politics and in business when you mix them together. I'd like to say to Tammy and any of you Tammy, if you're listening right now, the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center definitely has a lot of space, and I think they would welcome having We Code KC to be a part of the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center and the space, not that you have to be a part of it, but in the building that we have here. So where the Black Family Technology Awareness Association is, where there are other technology classes and programs going on. So, the door is open. If you'd like to talk to Tamara Sykes about it, please do so, because that's something that we don't want to see any nonprofit, especially that's bringing technology into the urban core and helping our youth and families to be out there and not be able to have some assistance. So just want to let you know that the door is open, and we would hope that if you don't have some other plans, that you might consider working at 4510 East Linwood Boulevard. All right. But that's something that's going on in the city that just kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Hopefully it'll work out all right. I know the city council people that are in the 3rd District are diligently working on this, but we don't know what the outcome will be. As I find out, we'll let you know right here on KUAW Radio when it gets on the floor. I don't know if this article told me when it's going to be on the floor, but I'll find out, and I will let you know what happens with We Code KC and their building that they're housed in on 25th and Prospect. All right. Wanted to get that out to you. Now, we also do a thing from NASA to let you know more of what's going on called Space to Ground. So for all your kids, all of you that wait to see this every week and find out what's going on, here we go right now with Space to Ground.
KUAW satellite will reside on the exposed facility of the Japanese experiment module for several months. It will test a thermal infrared sensor for taking precise measurements of Earth's surface temperature and monitor water resources. This testing is a first step on the path to launching constellations of small satellites that could take measurements around the entire globe every day. This knowledge could help farmers achieve more yield and better quality crops. That's Space to Ground. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
All right, yeah, that's fantastic that they've got that going on. I don't know if you could hear that. We may need to run that again because, or were you reading real fast? But just a second, we'll see. Let's see if we can do a replay of that one. Just a second, we'll bring it back so that you can hear what they're talking about. This is Space to Ground.
Houston Station on Space to Ground.
Welcome to Space to Ground. I'm Shaniqua Vereen. On Tuesday, March 15th, NASA astronauts KUAW Barron and Rasha Chari will venture outside the orbiting outpost to perform IROSA 3A power channel preparations. IROSA, or ISS Rollout Solar Array upgrades, have been ongoing since 2020. Barron and Chari will install the modification kit in preparation for the new solar array. The International Space Station has 8 power channels, each fed with electrical power generated from one solar array wing, extending from the station's truss backbone. The original solar panels launched on 4 space shuttle missions from 2000 to 2009. As expected, the solar panel efficiency has degraded over time. NASA is upgrading the space station's power system with the new rollout solar arrays, which will partially cover 6 of the station's 8 original solar panels. When all 6 IROSA units are deployed on the station, the power system will be capable of generating 215 kilowatts of electricity. Back inside the station this week, the science continued with cameras that could save your crops. Imagine if farmers could get advance warnings of water stress in their crops, alerting them to changes in crop health days to weeks before they become visible. They would be able to head off those issues and decrease chances of crop losses. A new experiment heading outside the space station aims to do just that. NASA flight engineer KUAW Barron installed the Long-Wave Infrared Sensing Demonstrator, or LISAR, on the NanoRacks external platform this week. The KUAW satellite will reside on the exposed facility of the Japanese experiment module for several months. It will test a thermal infrared sensor for taking precise measurements of Earth's surface temperature and monitor water resources. This testing is a first step on the path to launching constellations of small satellites that could take measurements around the entire globe every day. This knowledge could help farmers achieve more yield and better quality crops. That's Space to Ground. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
All right. Yeah, that's a little bit better when you can hear it, huh? But yeah, sorry about that, but these things happen from time to time. I'm glad that I did catch that. I know if I was at home in a remote location, my wife been hollering down the steps that I can't hear anything. But anyway, we got it out there for you. Thanks for bearing with us with our little bit of cockpit there. It wasn't technical difficulties then. It was a little bit of me causing a problem. But yeah, we were talking about that security, and as they say, we have to watch out for it. Russia, as they say, may be primed to hack America's infrastructure. As Russian troops attack the Ukraine, experts are warning that Vladimir Putin could also seize the opportunity to deploy Russia's trove of cyber weapons to hack America's infrastructure. Russia is no stranger to launching cyber attacks against the U.S. or using third-party hackers to hit American interests. U.S. officials have previously accused Russia of infiltrating everything from power plants to the Department of Defense. And with tensions between the two nations skyrocketing and U.S. sanctions against Russia looming, Putin could retaliate by launching powerful cyber attacks against the U.S. Such an attack could cut power to cities, shutter banks, and stop the flow of fuel, crippling whole swaths of the country. So that's the thing that we have to be on the lookout for. It says, I'm quite nervous about what's going to happen. Former ambassador to the UN Social and Economic Council, Sarah Mendelson, told Yahoo Finance. I have said to people we should expect something and we should not panic if we have a cyber attack. added Mendelsohn, who serves as the head of Carnegie Mellon's Heinz College in Washington, D.C. So that's the thing that we're talking about is cyber attacks. And cyber attacks, they say even Russia may want to use ransomware to help get around the sanctions. It's just like the oil when it was stopped on the East Coast a year or so ago. The ransom was a few $100 million or a few $1 million that had to be sent to parties unknown, although they think they were in Russia. So, as these people they can hack and hold hostage banks and oil refineries and pipelines, things like that. And they say, hey, we can make money off of that when they want to put these sanctions up. So all of this stuff may happen more and more. And then they can disrupt. It doesn't have to be a big nation state to do this. You've got criminal hackers that would love to get into your equipment. We've got hackers that are at work all the time wanting to get into our equipment, wanting to lock up schools or just to raise havoc with you at home or on your Zoom line. But that's one of the things that we have to look at, and I was reading an article, makes me think that I've got to go back and look at my own security. We've got password protection, and most of us have passwords, but we maybe use them, we don't change them enough, or they may not be that secure. It says that now an 8-character password could be cracked in less than an hour. Advances in graphic processing technology has slashed the time needed to crack a password using brute force techniques, says Hive Systems. So if you've been using 8 characters on your password, now because a lot of people are getting these extra graphic processors and stuff to do crypto mining, they're working with cryptocurrencies and stuff. Well, that also gives abilities now that the average criminal can get to hack into your password quick, because it can just run so many different combinations that it eventually get yours. So security experts keep advising us to create strong and complex passwords to protect your online accounts and data from savvy cyber criminals. And complex typically means using lowercase and uppercase characters, numbers, and even special symbols. So that's something you got to look at. But complexity by itself can still open your password to cracking if it doesn't contain enough characters, according to research by security firm Hive Systems. So even though you may use the $sign, that hash sign, any of those in there, exclamation points and stuff, you still have to have more than 8 characters. You still have to have it be longer, to stop the processing. A 7-character complex password can be cracked in 31 seconds. Now, can you imagine that? That a 7-character password with numbers, upper, lowercase numbers, and signs can be cracked in 31 seconds, while one with 6 or fewer characters can be cracked instantly. They can get into it. Shorter passwords with only 1 or 2 character types, such as only numbers and lowercase letters, or only numbers and letters, would take just minutes to crack. So that's the thing that look at, and I was looking at these things that, they have a chart in this article saying how long it would take to crack different ones. So if you have numbers only, they can crack your code instantly. So they can't even time it. And that's if you have up to 11 numbers. If you have up to 18 numbers, it can take them 3 weeks to crack it. But if you have as little as 14 numbers, just numbers only, it only takes 3 minutes that your password can be cracked. If you lose lowercase letters only, which you've got a few more of them because there's 26 characters there as opposed to 10 in the numbering system. But if you use lowercase letters, if you have 9 lowercase letters, it'll take up to 10 seconds. With 13, it could take them up to 2 months. So that's a little while if they're all lowercase. Now, if you use upper and lowercase letters, if you have just 6 characters, they can do it instantly. If you have 10 characters, it can take them up to 3 days. If you use 12 characters of upper and lowercase, it can take up to 24 years to crack it. So with just 12 letters, upper and lowercase, because now you've increased your number in double, then it's 24 years it can take them to crack it. So those are things that we have to look at in making complex passwords. If you use numbers and upper and lowercase letters, if you just use 8 of them, it'll take only 7 minutes. But if you use 12, it can take them 200 years if you use upper, lowercase, and numbers. So the longer it is, the more complex it is. If you just use up to 8 characters, they can get you in less than a minute on almost anything. If you use less than 8, they can really crack it quick. But if you use numbers, upper and lowercase, and symbols, if you use just 11 of those, it can take 34 years to crack your password. You know, if you just use 10 of them, it can take 5 months. So, you know, and if you've got a bank account like mine with just a few dollars in it, nobody wants to work 5 months to get into a bank account that ain't going to give them that much. But that's the thing that we have to look at, is that to make it more difficult, you're going to have longer passwords. Some companies, I know I've went to 2-factor identification, so they'll actually, after I put in my password, I still have to answer a text and put in another code in order to get into whatever service they use. Now, if it's just something that doesn't have any big value to it, you may not want to have it that complex. But you never know what they can do with your data from any place that they get it. Even though you might say, well, Facebook isn't that important. But, yeah, if they get into your account in Facebook, they may be able to get your name, your mother's name, things that they can use on other accounts. They may be able to get different information and data from you, and they put it together with a lot of this computing power that is now becoming stuff that you can just have on your desktop in your home. With gigabit internet and with the power of computers with high big graphics cards in them and stuff, it doesn't take a whole lot of equipment or space or room to have almost super computing capabilities. So we must think about having passwords that are longer than 8 characters, using numbers, letters, and symbols. It looks like, according to this, you might want to have at least 12 to 13 letters, numbers, and symbols at the least. That might be the shortest password. And you say, well, that's a lot to remember stuff. And they say, well, you can use passphrases that sometimes are easier for you to remember, but still give you a lot of letters and characters rather than just trying to think of a word or a couple of words. You can use it like, my grandmother's name is whatever. Well, you can remember all of that, but that's a long password now. You've already turned it into a long thing. If you put my grandmother's name is, and then throw some numbers in there too, or a couple of dashes, you've made a real complex password. We have to look at that. We have to think about doing that so that we have more security. As we're doing more stuff online, as more computer power is in the hands of people that may not have good intentions, and that like I say, it could be Russia, but it also could be somebody right here in the city. It could be somebody, that's not far off or a big country, just somebody that wants to get into your bank account, that just wants to get all the money that they can get. And that's good enough for them. They're not trying to rule the world. They're just wanting to get them a payday. So those are things that we need to definitely be on the watch for. So think about your passwords. Think about the security. Another thing I wanted to bring to everybody's attention, we've started a new thing, a new capability using our OBS software that I've used on a couple of shows now, but it actually gives the ability to see your text. If you look right there now, you see where it says Facebook Live Chat. So now when you're chatting, or if you want to chat on Facebook while my show is going on, I can see your post. I can see what you post on there. So if somebody wants to put a post up just for test, say hi George on there, and you'll see it. and it's good. It's a fun way that you can communicate with me while the show is going on. It doesn't put your name up there. Your name is on the actual Facebook site and stuff, but as far as on this recording, it won't put that up there. And I'm going to do a little test myself right now. Let me bring up Facebook and see if I can get that up there and show you what we'll do. So this way we can interact with you more real time. We can see what you're posting, what you think about something that we've said or something, article or anything that you want to respond to. It'll be right there. So now I'll go in and let me look for our show that is live right now. See if I can pick this up and get it up there for us to see. Let's see, KUAW. And we'll put those up. But yeah, on a lot of our shows, we want to have that up so that you can respond or that you can share information with the host of the show right then. We want you to keep it clean. This is a family-friendly show. There you go. Somebody says, I don't see that now. Okay, well, I see where you say you don't see that now on there. So you've posted that, and it is up there. And let's see if we can get that. I got to get to my live. I don't know why I'm not seeing my live right now. Let me look at Caster, make sure all my destinations are up. Sometimes things go down, but I did see somebody had posted that they don't see that. Yeah, a couple of my feeds went down, my main feed, and I tell you, you got to keep your eye on this. BFTAA is up, and it stayed up. The KUAW radio feed had went down. So I'm connecting back to it again now. So let me go back to BFTAA, because I was wondering, I'm thinking I'm not seeing this myself. And when you're trying to work with them both, sometimes they can get a little bit hairy. But definitely lost one of them there. Okay, yeah, you typed in, I don't see that now, and I actually see that. And let's see, we'll get this up. Yeah, we're live on BFTAA, and trying to work with it, and having the other videos that are going out now is a little tough on this computer, but that's probably what you got. Oh, okay. I see what you've got there. That was Mildred. All right, so I'm able to get on that now and type back. But yeah, that's a strain on my computer to try and put my Facebook video up there with everything else that is going on up there. But yeah, those are the things that we are capable of doing now, and you'll be able to see it. Yeah, as it says, I do see it after I type a comment. And that's what we're able to do now, is that your comments when you're on the show, when it's live, if you want to comment on there, you can do it, and we can put it right on the screen. So that's a extra feature. We're always trying to add something new to KUAW Radio, and this was one thing that I able to figure out. I was able to get it done, because sometimes it takes a little bit of a learning curve to get out of that. I'm going to turn it off on me because, yeah, it gives you a little bit of echo as you're hearing both of those broadcasts. Yeah, but I've got everything back up now, so we're out there and we're live. So KUAW, we're constantly trying to bring you some new features, new things that we can do. We also have just been selected to work with Guadalupe High School. I think it's Alta Vista High School, which is part of Guadalupe Center here in Kansas City. We did a presentation on broadcasting before the children, or before the students. They weren't children, high school students. And they selected 2 projects that BFTAA and KUAW had presented. One is going to be doing interviews and then a radio broadcast that we're going to work with them this trimester, and also to do some computer design work to make a robotic part a tabletop demonstration that we'll be able to take to maker fairs and other workshops and displays that we have for people. So the students at Alta Vista High School are going to be working with the Black Family Technology Awareness Association on a couple of projects, and we've started on that. We've already started the process, so I'm waiting for the students to contact me for interviews, and we'll pick the team that's going to go to work out there. But me and our vice president, Miguel Fernandez, went and presented before the school last week. And we didn't know how well our presentations were going to be taken by the kids, but we actually had some that signed up and that they want to work with that as some of their ongoing getting job readiness skills. So I'll be working with some students on doing some broadcasting, and we're also going to be working with them on doing some computer designing. Maybe, I don't know if they'll have time for 3D printing, but we're wanting to take whatever they design to a hacker space and then get it 3D printed, and we'll actually make whatever it is that they get designed. That was one reason that we, when I saw this thing about Tammy Buckner and We Code KC, they were creating a maker space right here in Kansas City. So, I mean, in the urban core, where you'd be able to go and there'd be 3D printers, there'd be things that we could use because, you know, we don't buy one for every place because you just may not need it every place. But that was something that we wanted to have available, and we would, you know, then take our project over to there, get it printed, put it together, and we could show the kids. So that collaboration works. So that's something we're going to be working on in the future here. So KUAW, BFTAA, just like you saw my little intro that I'm playing around with, we're constantly trying to learn and to grow and develop. And you can come and learn and grow and develop with us. It's not just for children. It's for adults. It's for you getting some workforce development. If you want to learn something that can help you on your job, get in contact with us. We'd love to work with you. We're about helping close the digital divide that exists in the African-American community and other underserved communities. So we want to work with everybody, and we want everybody to benefit from what technology can do. I know some of us don't want to use technology at all. That's well and good if that's your decision. But we need you to be aware of it so that you can make informed decisions of if you don't want to work with it or not. But that's all of my time for today. Spring is coming. We got one more week, and it's going to get warm. It'll be time to get out and get fishing and get out doing some science out in nature, which is always a good thing also. So keep listening to KUAW Radio, the BFTAA, and more show. We're here every Monday, so you can join us and you can get your head full of whatever knowledge it is we have that we can put out there. I hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure and like and share this message. Also like and share KUAW radio station. Tell us what you think about it. Pick us up on all the different platforms that we are on. Leave us a message in Facebook or on Twitter, KUAW-radio or KUAW_radio on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. Like and share this. All right, take care. We'll see you again next week on the BFTAA and More show. Have a good night, everybody.
For their contributions to civil rights, politics, the arts, and beyond.
Yes, Virginia, there really was a Bridgerton. The Netflix series about a biracial queen has